match button. Boom! I did it! Look at me. You know that casters control when the game starts. Everyone knows that.
Science. It's facts. Big facts. This is the first Haven that you and I have cast tonight. I didn't actually see if it got played much earlier on, but first one for the two of us. So let's see how this can go. A little bit of control here in towards mid early on. zecK will be holding this behind a dark cover, but they're just setting up. They're likely going to watch for this to fade. So the question is, who gets the first shot? Who gets the first dome? And can zecK survive here? Timing. They have the utility out actually as the cover goes down, so mistiming it perhaps, and the paranoia coming back through is huge. But zecK's going to have to back off of it, and eventually he's going to lose the fight to mAKKA. That's going to be the spike, likely going down as they got a wall to cover off one side, and indeed they do. Infamous and Miniature, they do trade some damage. The slow warp down will prevent the hasty retake, and now with control still in towards mid, this is phenomenal positioning for Morning Light. They're locked out by a smoke, but they got the lineup, as we talked about those kings. They give you a lineup through, they're still sticking this defuse, they gotta go for it, and Chase is just gonna get it right under their nose. The Brim smoke's enough to seal the deal. Defenders take it. They may lose all their bodies in the end, but at the end of the day, they get that one on the scoreboard, and that's what matters.
Because of the spike plant, you're gonna see a force. That's the nature of the game currently. So you can see Morning Light spending a decent amount coming into the round, and as a result, you're gonna have the shotgun coming out from mAKKA. He's got the Judge on the Jet. It can be incredibly annoying to try to deal with that Judge, but Wedid is doing the same exact thing right now for Mamba mode. We'll see which one does it better. Shot Up's going to be the first one to move in towards short. That's where they're headed, and uh-oh. That's where Wedid is waiting, currently holding with the Judge. It's all down to the timing. He's got this shotgun right around the corner. There's the flash to leave it in. First one's going to be his, but no, can't convert. It's actually critical to go big. There's the shotgun advance into sight. zecK coming in big with the Bulldog in the end. So while they may have drawn a little bit of blood there, Mamba mode survived the onslaught towards the A site to pick up their second round.
Mamba mode appear to have had a brief rename here to MMG, which I'm going to guess is Mamba mode gaming. Yep, MMG. Apparently what they're going for now, so a little bit of a conversion here. Probably just gonna keep calling the Mamba mode. There's more of a ring to it, more unique, you know, better flow. We've got the Judge still on critical. Just gonna be pistols on the other side. Sheriff, ghosts, and the like. Maybe Wedid could go for the ult orb, but a bit too late on it. They pushed out the Cybercade, not enough to hold them at bay. Now they got that long control. They're going to be making their way in, and it smokes on the site as well to secure the back line. Nicely done here. Wedid pushing forward. Wants this fight. Has the first. Has to back off. Found blood. If they get a spike plant here, not a bad effort. The Judge still holding the corner. 1, 2, make it. Not quite the third, as zecK did take that kill with the Bulldog, but a nice wombo combo, a nice crossfire set up, and it is only Wedid to be the casualty here. 3-0 now for MMG.
Sageless composition comes out. This is a nice spot. Not exactly something we see too often on Haven. That's an interesting one. When we've seen Sageless comps, especially in North America, it's been mostly on Ascent. We've seen it occasionally on Split, but Haven, that's a new one for me. Right now, though, it is at least working out for the moment. We'll see how it helps them as the half continues to progress. I do love the fact that they bring an Omen into play. I praised Omen in the previous match, saying that potentially Omen, I think, honestly, one of the most underrated agents right now, especially in North America. It's just not played as frequently as I would like to see it. It's played real heavily in Europe and played masterfully by some players. We spoke about Korea, who's a god-tier Omen player, potentially the best Omen in the world. And when you see it played by him, you go, oh, that's really good. More people should do that. Chase tries to get aggressive through the doors. We'll get one, but traded out immediately by Miniature. So see them start moving towards the site, and there's Infamous with the Odin, but only going to get one. mAKKA actually able to peek into the path of the Odin shots and somehow dodge the damage. So they've gained site control, and they're going to go ahead and secure the spike.
Backline going to be so important here. The reload caught off on timing is Miniature, and he's down for the count now. Big problem. A nice tight shot for Wedid. Playing the close, playing it to perfection on onto mAKKA. Everything on mAKKA's shoulders. Takes one, takes two, but cannot deal with the AWPer coming from the garage. It is Wedid to get the final shot, to get the last laugh, and to secure round 4. And yes, some of these rounds are getting quite close, but at the end of the day, the numbers are still stacking up, and they're stacking up decidedly for Mamba Mode Gaming. Now,
I love
Oderus,
the
the player
Odin
we were
play.
talking about. Oh, yep, go for it.
I love the Odin play from Infamous, but every time I want to see it like really work out, it just doesn't. And I'm like, come on, man, please. Like, apparently it's his shtick, and I just want to see it like really work once.
You'd expect to see potentially him in towards the garage doors. Definitely when they're attacking. A little bit of the garage doors play. Seems like it's going to be window here. Go for dark cover, perhaps get the tag, and then go for the spam if they have it. But no, he's actually going to be rotating the back lines. They've seen some presence out towards A long. They've had to give up this space. Oh, he's spamming through to short with it. How well does that work? From the corner of B.
From the corner,
spamming
I'm not sure how much damage it does. Yeah, there's a couple of really unique spams you can do on this map. You can also spam actually from A connector into short. Again, I haven't really been able to actually test it myself. So basically where Jet is sitting right now, you can spam the wall down into short. There's some really bizarre spams, like on Bind, you can spam through from Octagon into Hookah on B by spraying through a window. Like, they're so situational, it really wouldn't do you any good. Someone would have to be in the perfect position for it to actually result in, like, significant damage dealt. But I haven't had an opportunity to actually test these out to see what the damage is like on the other side. If you have the right gun, if you have an Odin, go ahead, spam away, have fun. Like, obviously, an AWP, it might do significant damage, but good luck actually tracing that shot properly. Now, they've lost control of A. They've still got critical here. He's up in heaven, and they'll go for the peek onto Oderus. They'll take out the stage. So the res and the heal's currently taken out of play.
Get out of my way.
But they've still got sight control, and there's the ult being popped currently from the Jet. We'll see how it affects things. There's one trying to come through on the flank. It's Chase, though, that beats out Miniature, and Critical's going to find one more from up in heaven. It's down to now 2 on the attack as Critical decides to dive bomb Heaven, the last target right around the corner, and that's the 4K from Critical on the round, as yet another one goes on the board for Mamba Mode.
That really, I mean, Critical obviously got the 4K. That's impressive, but the first pick was the best part of it. Comes back in towards Heaven. As you said, they'd completely given up the A site. They had no control of it. They had called the full rotate, the full passive play on it. Critical just peeks right back in from Heaven, catches the Sage, but not only catches the Sage, also catches the bomb in the hands of the Sage, and that's a big problem. And by bomb, I mean spike. Forgive me. I cast Counter-Strike for the most part. The spike caught out. And that was a huge deal because it slowed them down. It slowed them down to the take. That firm sight control they had with the man advantage suddenly slips away. They're caught with their pants down. Here's the Odin play you wanted. Infamous just spamming the heck out of this. Did a ton of damage as well in that brim. That has to bring out the Sage Orb early. And Chase is going to gain space as a result of it. He's actually just going to come into the fight. It was the run it back, though. So no harm, no foul, no loss. Meanwhile, zecK is taking advantage of this space to take window. But Oderus was oh so ready for this.
Really aggressive look coming out from them on the defense. You know, you've got the brim spam through the doors, taking away that armor on the doors.
I know exactly.
The Phoenix run it back is popped. Got the Omen pushed all the way down in mid, but zecK gets dropped. The Phoenix ult doesn't produce the success you'd anticipate. Early damage was dealt, sure, with the spam, but the heal was there. Now the Neural Theft will give away potential positions here. And we'll see what Morning Light decides to do with that. They still have their res available too, so if someone should fall, they have the ability to bring them back into play. There's also the Orbital Strike they have to worry about here from the defense. Shotup's going to take care of that Neural Theft that could have been utilized. There's the Orbital Strike coming out. Wedid goes up vertically, but in the meantime, Shotup's found another one inside the flames. Wedid's going to hit a quick shot and dash out of trouble. But in that time, they've gone from B to C, as the Orbital Strike pushed them out of that position. And now it's all up to Wedid. With an option, goes this one backside. They cross pass, and those whirling winds of that smoke going to allow Miniature to just spray away at Wedid. Great round coming in from Morning Light. It's about time they found their way onto the scoreboard.
It is indeed. It is indeed. They find their way on pretty comfortably as well, right? 4 players surviving. Obviously, for Wedid was trying to pluck one more kill there, perhaps take some of the economy away from them, but that didn't quite work out. Plenty of money available for MMG, though, as I say that, We're going to see the return of the judge. Critical's breaking it out. Had a little bit of spare cash. Could have gone for a bulldog, I believe, based on my quick calculations. But opted for the judge instead, and we've seen that be fairly effective early on. Wedid wants to get aggressive. Oh, Wedid is pushed so far forward with this op. They've got a player tucked into the nook as well, though. That's the Phoenix, that's Chase. So they're going to support each other. It's going to come down to MAKKA. Can he shut this down? Eats the flash full on in the face, but they're so timid in pushing this, despite the fact that he's all blinded, that they don't get the kill. Oh, big problems now. Critical's been traded. Does get one with the judge, though, so decent impact with the auto shoddy. No problem there. And now they've got support. They're coming back through. They're readjusting. They're going to make their way into garage, and there is no holding garage. It's passive instead in the form of Wedid. But Wedid should have the sight lines once they actually make their way in. And it seems like the adjustment might be towards B, which puts all the pressure on our favorite Odin player. All onto Infamous. And it's all done.
You're dead.
There's the run it back as well. Popped off by shot up. He'll throw the curveball as the flames go down as well. The hot hands used as both a tool to keep them at bay and also a method to just continue his push further. The run it back expires, and he hasn't spotted out anyone. Right now, the spike is planted for bottom mid, and you can see the presence there. Currently, zecK coming around the corner somehow. Spots the barrel first, but loses in the 1v1. Likely would have been traded regardless. You've got Wedid peeking out the door currently with the off. Oh, the timing. The timing is so punishing. As he changes his focus back towards the box, they peek from the window and they see the barrel poking through. And at this point, it's time to save. So you can see the defense down to just 2, realizing there's not much that can be done. Morning Light with a promising push toward B. Wedid will at least get a punishing kill onto MAKKA, but it's the round for the attack.
So you should see maybe a half investment here, maybe just minimal. Oh no, they're gonna go for this. It seems they can spread the money out a decent amount and make it look okay. Not great. Infamous presumably taking a rifle here. Certainly the Odin is not on the table. Okay, they're just gonna kind of take the hit, but they are gonna fully invest into this one. They're going for it. They're risking it for the biscuit. A couple players will have 1,600 to spare, but that's not much to speak of. Very aggressive here for Wedid. Wants to take the initiative with this operator peak, but there's got to be a clock in his head that says maybe this isn't such a good idea towards the window. Obviously, there's likely, I believe, a dark cover up there to cover this off, but this is still a bold and very risky play. And not finding anything that's going to be Wedid back and right on out. That's sort of what Jet allows you to do, is go for a risky peek and then bail on out of there. And that's what they do go for. So no bloodshed just yet. Bit of a standoff this time. Slower start to the round. Morning Light working the default, seeing if any aggro pushes can come through, seeing what they can find, and now it seems like they're going to set their sights on C, where we just have Chase holding the line.
Yellow crosshair, what? Contii. Currently in the cubby with his team starting to work towards the site. There's the first shot coming out. The ult, I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. The defense has already been moved out of position. MAKKA takes a few ticks from the orbital strike, but friendly damage doesn't do nearly as much as it does when you're on the other side. So he'll lose 8 points on his armor, 4 from his HP. The retake about to come through here, or so we thought. Miniature goes ahead and peeks into the garage. MAKKA finds one as well. Now zecK will get at least a nice trade there, so a response from the likes of Mamba Mode. The Paranoia going out onto the site, but in a 2-on-4, yet again, they're in a scenario where they can't go for this one. This is when you start to see the downfall of a Sageless agent composition, because you don't have that res. So you're in a close situation. You can get that res, potentially make it a 3-on-4 retake. Maybe you find a kill, all of a sudden it's tied up, even Stevens. That's the problem with those Sageless comps, is you find yourselves in these save scenarios all too often because you know you can't go for it. And we've seen teams struggle with the same thing. We've even seen a team like TSM who plays Sageless comp on Ascent. They're pretty much the team that popularized it in North America. Code 7 was one of the teams that also does the same thing. But TSM has fallen into the similar trap before when they played that Sageless comp on Ascent. I understand it, especially on a map like Ascent, but a map like Haven, it feels very peculiar, and it is not something we've seen yet. It's sort of that like 500 IQ, big brain theoretical meta thing coming out from Mamba Mode. And while I'd love to see it work out, it is initially, but in the long run, how will it play out for them?
It's almost like you're taking your ability for a do-over in a situation and eliminating it. Here we go. Full Odin move. Infamous. Love the spam. We'll see if we can get some cumulative damage statistics here. Infamous, 'cause it doesn't feel like it's a lot of kills, but it is a lot of damage. We did! He's back in a miniature, gave up the angle initially, and that was a bit of an error here. They're going to get the operator. Miniatures trying to throw it over the wall. Can you do that? No, not quite. They'll just stick with it. Does not want to give it back to them. There we go. There you can hide it. Gotta find a wall short enough to stash the gun. Now they get the upgrade. Now they get the positioning. They're going to have to reset up for this take. They actually don't have to commit to it. They've still got a full minute. So they're kind of knocking on the door. They're announcing their presence. They're letting it be known that they're here, but they're not quite taking that door down just yet. Critical, though. Will catch miniature. I really love that peek because it feels like if you're going to go for that initial peek in towards long, you might as well have a teammate right next to you ready to trade. And if he's not going to trade off of you, fail. So they've got even number. Once again, this bomb's going to be going down towards site, but we've got the Odin. That mystical, gigantic machine gun, waiting to see if someone push out into him. The spam may just come back the other way. Spike down, spike planted. A player just outside the window might catch this omen off. zecK, trying to find it, shot up looking for this. This duel is huge. zecK catches him. There might be a player here, and he has the peek, but look in two directions. That one shot up will catch him, and now it's a massacre as nobody's left but the Cypher for MMG, and he's all the way over towards A. Can't even really think about this. Critical just going to have to save and keep it alive into the next round, and now Morning Light will be one round away from tying this up.
Critical, here. I mean, 46 HP. What are you supposed to do? Your team's struggling right now on the defense. Morning Light with a slow start. But, you know, this is something we saw in Counter-Strike for a long time before they changed the economy. Critical? Hello?
Yeah, I don't know what he was planning there.
He was going to die in that spot.
Absolutely in the spike
range.
That
hurts.
So odd. Did he think he was planning on C?
I think he just thought it was not going to hit him with the detonation radius. I really don't know. It was a little bit odd to see him in that spot. Now, returning to my thought, if you remember, before they made the economy changes in Counter-Strike, it was not uncommon to go down 5-0. It happened pretty regularly. Now, in this game, if you lose the pistol and you lose the second round, you go buying in the third. If you lose that, you're going to save in the fourth. Probably going to lose that, and then you buy in the fifth. That's the difference. But if you force in the second, which a lot of teams do, especially off a spike plant, that bumps it again to that same scenario, 5-0. That's when the full buy comes through. That's when you can afford an operator. That's when you can afford full utility on your Sage plus a rifle and full armor. That's when things usually turn around for a team that's been on the losing side. And that's exactly what we see here from Morning Light. So I'm not entirely surprised that things have turned around for them as they've been able to afford that full kit. Like, we look at a player like Oderus, who's opping as the Sage. That's an incredibly expensive role. The Sage is expensive as it is. The op, really expensive. So it's difficult to kind of balance that responsibility with the economy. So once you get into that position, you start to get comfortable. That's when things start to click. And you can see that money currently piling up right now for them. They're in a decent spot with their cash as well. So they'll be able to buy for the foreseeable future on some of these guys. 7,800 for Shot Up, 8,500 for Contii. Oderus 7,900. Lots of cash built up. Wedid currently on the site, only with a shorty. How does he use it? Tries to get close, maybe. First shot's right on the money. It's miniature going down. A cloud burst to follow up. Goes ahead and pops the ult, the Blade Storm. Does he dice up his targets on the site? Another cloud burst coming out. They know he's inside the smoke. The wall's going to make it harder. There's a target to his left, just wasn't quite prepared. But look at this. With 13 seconds left, they desperately need to get the spike secured, and they're having a hard time doing it.
On the wrong side of the wall, isn't it? No, it's actually there, but they have to get it down. It has been just in the nick of time, but Contii has to pop this wall to be any effect. In the meantime, the rest of his teammates have been dealt with. So down and out they go. The defuse on an MMG. They will hang on to their lead. They'll secure at least the 6th round here on the defensive side of Haven. So they're at least going to split the series, if not work for more. But, as you said, that cash had built up in a big way. We had multiple players at 9K, so there is plenty of money to buy back into this. Morning Light, they get another go at it. But again, this is a trend that I'm seeing that we saw in our previous matchups. When you start to leave that clock a little lead on the attacking side, you can get into a lot of trouble. I can understand the temptation to hope for a pick, to hope for some aggression from the defensive side.
Shut that
but
Phoenix up.
things are slower in this game. Movement is slower. So many of the utility abilities are just about delaying phase. Leave it too low, you can really find yourself in trouble. mAKKA gets a first pick. The player boosted up on the central box in towards B. Eliminated, exterminated, dealt with. And as we've said time and again, with no Sage, those early picks really come back to bite you. I like the spot for Wedid.
He did. Currently looking up over top of that smoke. You see this play a lot on that default box, and sometimes you'll even see them move towards the backside of site as well on the double stack. Just peeking over the smokes, because you'll see Brim smokes, you'll see Omen smokes come down in that position, so you'll try to use verticality to peek over top of them. Sometimes you'll even have a Sage who goes for the wall behind the default and kind of gets like a headshot angle. You can't really see over the smokes as well when it's a Sage, though. You got to be up on top. However, it's also easily punishable, so if you're not careful, you can overstay your welcome and result in an advantage for your opponent. Here, Mamba mode trying to play defense with one less defender. The wall goes in, the smoke goes down, the flash comes through as well for Shot Up. This is what he's done time and time again, and he's worked it masterfully in the past. Shot Up now sneaking onto the backside of site, but surprise, it's going to be a C take. We've seen this already from the likes of Morning Light. Shot Up is basically just here to cut off the rotate. Doesn't get an opportunity as he wasn't anticipating Chase's position, still in that corner on the site, but it's a great look coming in from Morning Light.
I do love that Sage. It's
I know
pretty. And they've got another flanker here. Another one to do some rotation. That's Oderus, who gets a pick and can now readjust towards long to play off of the spikes. This is nicely done. Miniature gets a follow-up. Everything now onto Critical. Critical has a massive clutch ahead of him. I can't even really get started on it. Contii shuts it down. So very nice control. It's an element that we expect, but just really nicely implemented. Oderus in his position out by the garage, yes, he can take that first shot. He gets that pick, but then immediately goes to the rotation out towards long, knowing that then they're going to be able to play the operator off of the spike. You've got that control from Shot Up in the back of B. They come to expect it a little more, so they go hunting for it, but it still delays them. It slows them down, and time is such a critical thing. So now one round away from taking this into the half as a complete even split for Morning Light. They're looking to secure this last round. They're looking to make it the 6-6, and it's a very limited buy for MMG.
There's that angle we were talking about. Can't quite see over the smoke. Has to jump. Spots his target, but couldn't exactly dial in the shot with the operator. 5 rounds now for Morning Light on the attack. They've got the Blade Storm, Resurrection, and Neural Theft. On the other side, you've got Orbital Strike. You've got that Omen Teleport. You've also got Run It Back for the Phoenix. mAKKA looking for intel towards the backside of site. Take a seat! We didn't get domed by the blades. As I say that, though, there's the quick kill coming out from Chase. As he pops to Run It Back, will die as the Hot Hands lands right where it comes back. So it's going to be down to a 3-on-3, making it a 3-on-2. It's zecK and the Cypher here, trying to play defense curveball too. zecK blinded, and there's not much that can be done there. Oderus spots him on top of the pallet. Now it's the ult being popped as well by the Phoenix. Critical's trying to back off as the spike gets secured on C. You can see Critical is running so far away from this Phoenix, who pops the ult and starts running towards spawn. He'll get rewound back towards the C site, and it will result in a 2-on-1. Critical does have full armor and full HP, but only has the cam at his disposal.
This first pick will be everything. Coming back in, do they anticipate the play towards garage? I think the Sage is safely tucked, so going to have to look hard left as they come out, and that'll be the trade, and there's the shot. No need for the trade. Shot up, figures out where to land the blow. So it is 6-6 as we head into the half. That one a little bit more chaotic, but working out at the end of the day. It's mAKKA who leads the scoreboard for Morning Light. Critical on the other side has been having a great game, 13-9. Tried that last clutch, but just couldn't quite come up with it. However, now the shoe's on the other foot, and I am a little bit interested to see how this shakes up. Again, we were talking about it. You were talking about it a lot. The 5-0 line of winning the pistol, winning that first gun round, setting yourself up so well early on. Well, that played in MMG's favor, right? So now that if they don't win this pistol, if they don't get that benefit, the gun rounds, for the most part, came to Morning Light. And we may see a situation where MMG might be a little bit out of their depth when the rifles are actually on the server.
flying all over the place right now.
I like that statue.
You know what? This is something I talked about earlier today while casting the WePlay event. Some of the external stuff on the maps is really awesome. The attention to detail from Riot's level designers to design elements that you will never see is amazing. Like, we saw some of it on Split as well. Like, you have those screens that show you all the departure times. There's a train off in the distance that you don't even know is there. I love all of that. But I want to know, like, this is that stuff we were talking about. Like, what's going on here? What is this coming out of the ground? I would love to hear some of the background story. Like, you look at Ascent, there's floating stuff everywhere, and there's, like, almost looks like fractured time and space, kind of just like suspending things in this floating state in the sky. And in my head, I'm like, will we potentially see some sort of time-bending agent eventually? Will that one day become something where it's like, instead of run it back, he can somehow find a way to rewind the scenario? I don't think that that's going to be a thing, but we've seen agents like that, or I guess I should say heroes or champions like that in MOBAs. Obviously, it doesn't apply to a first-person shooter, but you know, just looking at the way they're approaching some of the level design, and I'm really curious on the background stories. Like, maybe this will play into a storyline that sees us get new agents, and it all starts to stitch together.
I am curious to see that. Obviously, the focus at this point, and I'm also curious to see how much. Obviously, we've talked about it. The Riot has a lot of experience with that world building, but how much of it is going to be initially planned, and how much is going to be kind of written around the abilities, if that makes sense. It's always a bit of a challenge to find that balance in a game, but curious to see.
So, I mean, here's something too. What comes first, the lore or the agents? So, are the agents centered around a story that they've already created, or did they create the agents and now they have to stitch a story together? Like, obviously, we don't really know much, and most people honestly don't care. They just want to play the game. But I love some of that because it helps create like a richer environment to play.
It absolutely does. It's also interesting to see how much detail's been put outside of that. Whereas coming from a Counter-Strike background, so much of that is sacrificed in the name of frame rate. But obviously without the limitations of a very old engine, you can get away with a lot more. Nice kill early. There's the trade. Contii has brought it back to even numbers, though at the cost of much of his health. And the Sage is out, so there are no heals here. Critical. Big frag to find. zecK trying to lock this down. Spike will be planted. They've got bodies alive. 4v3 as the retake comes down. Control out towards C long. This is huge for Infamous. Big kill for the Mamba. Big kill indeed. Shot Up wants to go bold, but Shot Up goes straight into the gauntlet. Eats the bullets for breakfast, and that will be another pistol round 1 for the Mamba mode gaming.
It's a big pistol coming out for them as they can try and push forward and undo some of the mistakes that started to pile up in that first half. Again, that's how they got things going for themselves before it was Morning Light who fired back with the response. Critical with a great performance thus far. 15-9, outperforming everyone in the server. And guess what? We got a scoreboard in the second half.
Yeah! Hallelujah. Congratulations.
It's amazing.
Shoutouts to Observer at Pythian Legume for somehow making that witchcraft happen. How do bugs work? I don't know, but he does, and he's figured out a solution, so we are grateful. At least this time. Very grateful. All credit to our overlord, Pythian Legume.
Chase, with the SMG trying to take out tripwires that would potentially be in short, it decides to move back towards mid. B site right now, vacant. It is empty. mAKKA has to be careful, as there is a target to his left, but he's got the shotgun right now, and if he times this right, it'll be punishing. I don't like the amount of distance he's taking. That's the scary part. The shotgun is good right where you're at. It's all down to the timing on this peak. He's trying to watch both angles. He's afraid that the long push could be coming through. Look what's coming his direction. It's a target-rich environment. Oh, he's only going to get one. He does damage to the back target, but ends up finishing off Wedid, so the other Jet's going to be taken out of play. But now they lose the A site, and the only thing they got out of that was one kill.
I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to get with a shorty. You're looking for that one kill. You're looking for maybe a second. It's just so tough to put all the pressure on a shorty to maintain an entire site. You got to gamble stack in one of these second rounds. You got to do something here to give yourself a possibility of winning it, but that really left mAKKA on the creep. Nice flashbang catches them. zecK will convert it. zecK does eventually falter, but it's not going to be a big problem here. One player coming in and shot up, who again has a shorty, possibly the worst retake gun in existence, but he plays patient. And okay, a lot of damage being done here. Shot up, looking for the last, won't have it. Stinger instead prevails. And nicely done. A nice attempt. Some damage, only 2 players surviving. It's not going to be a great economy moving forward.
Here comes the full buy. It's a little awkward. Chase is down to low cash. They've got an SMG for Critical, Bulldog for Infamous, and AWP for Wedid. Their money is all over the place. In fact, they decide not to go with the AWP, which is actually the right call in my opinion, given the fact that you're not facing off against an AWP on the other side. So spending that money might actually be kind of annoying for you because you could lose that AWP and then just give them a gift. I like the early aggression, the smoke in the window, the follow-up from mAKKA results in an advantage here for Morning Light. They also get aggressive all the way down at bottom mid with the Phoenix, but they do back off, and it looks like the A site right now not really heavily defended, and that's why they're starting to spend more resources in that territory. The Jet wants to peek. mAKKA feeling it right now. Goes for a wide swing, dashes out of there, takes 0 damage in the exchange. So it will be Morning Light with a 5-on-3 advantage. And again, since there's no Sage, there's no res, there's no heals coming in for Mamba mode. But you do have that port for zecK, so maybe he can get behind enemy lines somehow. However, with him handling the spike right now, that's kind of awkward.
It is indeed. Look at how much space they've given towards B, though. It's going to be a little bit of control here from the brim. Just one sightline in, and Critical's now drawing focus. That might distract just enough, but it could actually drag a player in from the left side. The player now potentially capable of this. Chase wants to go through. Chase gets tagged in a big way. Still has this control, has this information. They're going to drop a dark cover, but Shot Up goes through it. The flash is perfect. Now they could catch off the spike planter. Oderus and Shot Up, they're chiming in. That spike can be defused already because everyone has been escorted out of the building. Morning Light convert their first proper gun round, and they convert it clean. I think we might see a similar situation in the first half, just vastly accelerated, where once the guns come out, we start to see major issues for MMG. They're gonna have kind of an awkward half by here, a couple stingers, a couple shorties, really tough to make work, but we'll give it an attempt at the very least. They are over on the attack here. We're going to need to see a little bit more from them in the gun rounds. That was the big issue in the first half. And it's going to be aggression from Shot Up to take 1, looking for more. Maybe a little bit bold, but Contii's got it. Contii will eventually drop. It's 2 for the price of 3. Question is, was that exchange rate worth it when you've given rifles over to your opponents?
The smoke coming in from mAKKA will make it a little bit easier to get the 4th kill. The final one will be Oderus's as zecK tries to go in at the end. Again, you mentioned it, like, in that first half. Things got a little bit weird. They won the pistol, but because the plant came through from Morning Light, they forced in the second. They lost that, saved in the third, bought in the fourth, got site control, lost it in the retake. So they had to save again in the 5th, which is when they again got site control, lost it in the retake. In the 6th round, they bought, and at that point, they pretty much controlled the scoreboard, only losing 1 round after that. And you can see the saves that continued to come through with the spike detonating a couple different times, 3 rounds in a row. It was partially because they don't have a Sage. We talked about it already, but the lack of a Sage makes it really difficult to go for those close retake scenarios because you don't have the heal to fall back on. You also don't have some of that bonus utility, but you lose the res, which is really difficult. Speaking of that res, Morning Light's going to wish they had their res up right now as the Jet goes down right off the bat. So there's an aggressive peek that comes out from the operator and results in a man advantage here for MMG.
Yeah, it's not even the situation where it's close enough that Oderus could think about trying to sneak an orb to get that player back up. 3 ticks away. In the smoke, though. Oderus will get the first. Can't get out of the air. Infamous there for the catch. Good timing on the ultimate from the Brimstone to push her back. It's Brimstone ult on Brimstone ult. And somehow, some way, zecK has snuck his way into the garage just in time as well to catch the spike in rotation. Does he realize there's a player already in sight? Doesn't matter. He's on run it back. zecK doesn't get spotted. Player walks into his dark cover, but he has just enough time to get the rifle around. Still an awkward situation, and there is the trade. A 1v1 now. Two Phoenixes dueling off. zecK and Chase on the other side. Chase has the luxury of the spike to play around. There's going to be the wall up to provide some vision cover. Actually, it's just a hot hands to prevent the push through. The wall is still available. The peek's going to come in here, but Chase wins the gunfight, ducking under the crosshair. And that will be MMG just barely hanging on to their lead, maintaining their superiority here, but only just. And they'll have no opportunity to save cash through.
How does Morning Light rebound after that? I mean, that was an expensive round right now from Mamba mode. Again, the scoreboard does get a little bit funky in the second half, so as much as it's nice to have it, you'll notice that the rounds kind of get weird. They're backwards. So, like, it's really hard because the teams aren't supposed to swap, and now all of a sudden they do, and the scoreboard doesn't work, and the binds change in half, and there's just a whole bunch of things. Tripwires don't show. They're working on it. I'm hopeful for version 2.0 of the Spectator client. It's going to be a great experience. mAKKA with a nice shot on the op to take down zecK early in the round. That's the Omen taken out of play. As much as I don't want to sound like a broken record, no res. So, yeah, look at that. Phoenix pushed all the way down.
You can see this in the way they've slanted it. It's almost like they've, if their line of defense is a straight line, they've just tilted one of the points to completely change the axis here. They've cut off 2/3 of this map. Deny the Phoenix bolt. mAKKA then gets the next pick. This is a huge fight, but Contii losing it could be a big problem here. Infamous may have just done enough. This take is coming through. They have the information. They'll have the flank on relatively quickly, but mAKKA goes high. The ult finally get mAKKA with the 4K. And okay, don't even worry about the spike. mAKKA is here to make sure you got no concerns as you're all dead. mAKKA, 19 and 12. Unreal right now. Not even an assist, because if mAKKA gets a chance to shoot at you, you're not surviving long enough for one of his teammates to finish you off.
mAKKA having a great game. 19 kills, 12 deaths currently. Oderus, who we talked about a little bit coming into the series, a little bit quiet in his performance. 9 and 9 is the Sage with the op roll. It's been the Jett, but no surprise there. Jett and the op, they just go together oh so well. zecK getting aggressive in mid. Speaking of working out well, my goodness. zecK's found 4, has the ult available as well. You know he wants the ace, and he's going to get it. Doesn't even need the headshot, but sure, why not? zecK still got it as Morning Light find their 10th round in absolutely impressive fashion.
It's the little dance. You heard us talking about how great a game mAKKA is having. He says, you know what? That top spot on the scoreboard, that's mine. I'm taking it. Claiming it right back through. What an ace there for zecK. Yes, it's just against a slightly inferior buy, but hey, style points count for something, and he has them in abundance. The aggression down mid working out, and it's Morning Light's first lead of the game to this point, so well done for them. I'll see what they can do. zecK looking for this head again towards garage. They're going to be headed towards B. There's no one watching this, but zecK trying to make some cheeky moves here out towards C long, gets caught by the operator of Oderus. He will be down for the count. So they should have B. They should have the ability to plant here. There's going to be a tripwire that'll slow them just a little bit, but everyone's locked out. And it's going to come to zecK on this fast flank. Oh, no. No one's watching for this. They need to get look in this direction soon because zecK is about to ruin some days. And he gets caught by Chase. Just as I was saying that, someone does turn around and put a foot on it. They get the pick. That's necessary. And now they should have a decent amount of ability to hold on to this. Only 2 players remaining. They're locked out. It's Contii. It's Oderus. An op on the retake. Not great. Although, if no one's watching that angle, it makes life a little easier. And now Chase has been pushed off. Big problem, he's going to heal out with no health remaining. The hot hands just to get his health back up to some degree. And the wall as well to do much the same. They're back into it. They got the res. They've brought back the numbers. They're running out of time, but they can just go ahead and stick this. The Brimstone ult might just save their bacon, but the bodies are dropping left, right, and center. Is there enough time to finish this off? Oh, I think only just barely. They should have it. They just need to hold the line, and ShotUp has done exactly that. Last second defuse coming in. 0.47 of a second. Whoo, they make it out.
Yeah, I mean, you could see they just narrowly had that as they stuck the spike. There was a bit of a scramble to get across to it, and you could hear the pings coming out, too, from Oderus saying, like, oh, they're here. He's backside right now. He's going around the corner. Please, help me. The Brim, not able to survive, but they were ShotUp with the backup. Here's one of those goofy boosts. Again, we were talking about this before. Just enable boosting. People are doing it anyway. You've got Oderus, who's up on top of the double stack, the default boxes, if you will. mAKKA's going to get aggro with the op. ShotUp finds one as well. It's looking real nice for Morning Light, trying to secure round number 12. Miniature's even going to get in on the action. ShotUp at close range.
Oh my.
He doesn't care if you paranoia him. You're too close. And as a result, he spots out 2 more on the round. It's 3 in total. ShotUp 25 kills. He wasn't necessarily underperforming prior to this, but man, he has come alive in the last couple of rounds, stealing that top position away from mAKKA.
I think he was at 15 kills before he hit that ace, and since then he's picked up 10 more, so I mean, this is pretty impressive, and now they just need 1 more. And the thing that I'm seeing as being the biggest key and the biggest indicator perhaps down the stretch of this series for Morning Light, they are oozing confidence these last few rounds. They're going aggressive. ShotUp's taking that fight, getting aggressive. He's going to have this again. He catches the player as they try and escape. Yes, he'll be caught out and dead, but Wedid is down for the count. And as we've stressed so many times, there is no get out of jail free card here. mAKKA, meanwhile, gets a follow-up aggressive down short A. This C-long position's been locked out. Oderus maybe a little bit too confident there as he comes back one too many times, but this is not a great situation. There's 2 players remaining, but look at the health on the Brim. He's a whisper away from death. They're going to have to break a wall to get back through to this. They could just leave. They've got a minute. The one thing they are rich in asset-wise is time. They'll immediately burn the ult, but Infamous manages to trade Contii off of it, so that is a good use of it. Everything on the mAKKA. mAKKA has been red hot, but he's going to be quenched. Cooled down, and at the very least, MMG are going to secure round number 10.
Got here.
I kind of look back at that peak from Oderus and I go,
Yeah, it was a dumb peak. He had already gotten so much there, and you knew he was just like, let me get 1 more, let me get 1 more. It was not the right play. It was absolutely, he had every advantage working for him. If he falls off of that, plays further back in towards sight, there's no real way for them to get back through. The numbers are at a disadvantage, and once that wall eventually does go down, they can control it. So I think that's the flip side of the coin of confidence, right? Is sometimes maybe too much confidence.
Say the same thing. Like, when you have a player like that, you have a player who wants to go for those flashy plays, the aggro plays. When it works, you're like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Keep doing that. When it doesn't, you're like, oh, dude, why'd you do that, you idiot? It's the duality of that style of player. So you can't really hate him for doing what he does every other time when it doesn't work. Like, if you have to hate it both times. You have to be even with that. Wedid with a nice shot from up on top of the double box over on long. Able to connect onto one. mAKKALOFF continues in his performance here. As the Jet, there's the ult being popped here from ShotUp. Takes out the cam, starts moving up close. He's got one around the corner, starts spraying away, knows he's there on short. Will we see the rededication come in towards the A site? They have not moved. They've got glue shoes right now as they continue to stick towards A. And that's why you're seeing the Sage start to put feelers down mid. That's Oderus, who's going to be on the flank potentially.
That's a big problem if he actually goes through, if he commits to it. Even just if he gets this window angle to hold them in towards A, this now limits the rotation to such a degree. He's getting so much info. Is he just going to sit here? Yes. This is the right call, in my opinion. It just makes a lot of sense to cement into that. Now they can play a bit of a passive hold, but they're going to have the fast flank, and they know it. ShotUp, even already getting Wedid. Yes, he gets traded, but that was the open Jet now out of play. There was no extra time to force this. Coming up short, actually. Surprised that this operator didn't come out towards long. Miniature, instead of just tagging them, he pings their location and then tags the second. They got information on the both of them. And here comes the flank in. Nice shot for Miniature. Nearly the second as well. A rifle might be enough, and indeed it is. Everything onto the remaining player. That's all Chase to hold the line to prevent this from coming through, and that's not going to happen. Map 1 is claimed. The shorty of all things does finish it off. 13-10 is our scoreline. Morning light down the stretch. Even the ground rounds just looked like the stronger team here on Haven, and they cemented going up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, for a second I got a little worried because both players were like, we did it, we won! And I'm like, oh wait, we gotta defuse. Don't forget to defuse. Go get the spike, go defuse.